Forge your inner armor.
Okay, we're going to get rolling, and it's good to see all of you on. And this is the beginning of, or kind of the release of something that Amy and I, more Amy than me, has been working on for a while. Actually, your journey with nutrition is a long journey, but you did start the functional nutrition stuff. What was that? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, probably. Although I have been eating since the time I was born. So the journey began long ago.
Yeah.
But specifically more like when one of our kids was in high school.
Yeah.
So now he's 30. So probably 15 years ago was the first I considered not feeding the kids Pop-Tarts and Eggos for breakfast, and started realizing there are some other nutritional routes you can take. And so I started digging in. And then my nursing background just was rather synergistic with it, both in the fact that I was a little disappointed that my nursing education didn't really cover a lot of nutrition. And then I worked in a pretty high-end medical field, and we really didn't do anything with nutrition in helping. I worked with kids that had cancer and blood disorders in a major pediatric hospital. So that was a little disappointing. So then when I started digging into it, I figured out that you have to kind of chart your own path and go off-roading a little bit. And it was kind of all right in the time where biohacking was so cool and everyone wanted to be biohacking. So I kind of fell into that stream. And then that's, whatever, 15 years later, here we are. So as with everything that I tend to find out, it blends together with our work and what we do with the brain. And so then, of course, we're trying to overlap those sectors and figure out what can be synergistic. And we, of course, see a lot of things that are detrimental to brain health in relation to nutrition. So we kind of started having a lot of conversations about, well, what can we do for our clients? So this whole thing that we're going to talk about tonight just all comes from wanting to provide something more for our client base. And it also comes from, this started with our family base and our 4 kids. And honestly, my son was the one who led us into this direction, because he went into keto and these things when that was all hot. And he had like absolutely amazing change in his physique in a matter of 30 to 60 days, which made me think, oh, okay, I think I better be learning a little bit more about this. So that's kind of how I got dived into it. I'm also a huge enthusiast of the gut biome. And so our family knows that at any moment, at any gathering, I will probably be talking about poop and that they're just going to have to be all right with that. But so we have a lot of fun with it, but it is a passion of mine. So I hope that you can get a sense of that tonight. And I hope it is something where my passion can rub off on anyone else and let them start their nutrition journey. And I think, Bill, you already got started on it because you're digging into stuff like that. So that's the direction we're hoping to go.
Yeah. So this isn't just some, side topic. This has actually been something that we've worked on for years. And Amy's talking about gut for a long time. And I mean, how many years have you been making kombucha? How many years? We got to be on year 7.
Probably. I was just making it today, but sometimes I showed him like how much money I've saved him over the years by how many of these bottles of kombucha that I've made out of
bottles and bottles and bottles. Okay. They just keep coming of kombucha.
Well, then we laugh about how far the mother has traveled, because the mother is the SCOBY. And so she's been with me for all these years. We've moved to Florida and Georgia and North Carolina. And then the kids took my SCOBY's babies to college. So they've been everywhere, literally. But it's kind of a beautiful thing. Yeah. She's spreading her love all over the place. So yeah.
So very cool. Well, we're excited about this. We're referring to it as our Masterclass on nutrition in the brain. And we will be releasing on Thursday the first of a 3-part series. Ian, who's with us on the broadcast tonight, is actually the one who's doing all the editing. He's phenomenal. And it's not coincidental that we're in the kitchen talking about nutrition, because in the video, the 3 parts are shot right here in this same location where Amy kind of just unpacks it all. It's really cool. So it's 3 parts. We're going to release them each week towards the end of the week, Thursday-ish. We need emails from you, so put those in the chat if you'd like to be a part of the masterclass, where you're going to get that each week. You're going to get your 30-minute video that you get to watch and walk through. And we're going to ask that you be interactive in that you have, if you have questions, input, suggestions, we'd like you to be sending those in over the month. Okay, so we have 3 weeks, and then we're going to do our webinar in May. Is going to be a wrap up where we're going to take that webinar and take what we've been learning over this month of April, and then answer questions, maybe provide some different examples of some things that you've tried. And we're going to go do in that webinar, kind of wrap that all up. So we do ask you, if you're going to watch the series, try to just help the whole audience by submitting some questions, some comments, some different things, so that when we have the webinar in May, we're not all just standing out here looking at a blank screen. Also, if you would like to have other people that you know, have us send them the 3-part series over the next 3 weeks, just send us their email. They won't get anything else from us. They'll just get the masterclass on it. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to give you is it 8-minute?
8-minute teaser.
8-minute teaser of
Not a taser, a teaser.
Teaser. So you're going to watch the first 8 minutes, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to ask Amy 3 big questions about this whole project, and then we'll finish out our time on the webinar. Remember, send us emails in the chat right now as we're going, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to share the video, and here we go. Boom. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry.
Dude, okay, Tim's working on it.
Give me a second.
So we'll let him do that. I'll speak while he's doing that, because I had never let a quiet moment pass. But so one of the goals in this whole project is to simplify the complicated topic of nutrition, period, and to pull out some principles. I'm much happier with that kind of a nutrition presentation than me telling you a list of things to eat. So you're not going to find that. You're not going to find a list of pills that you should buy at the end. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Right?
Okay, let's try it.
He's trying it.
Sorry, guys. And somebody just came in.
Perfect timing. Okay, here he goes. No one hold your breath. Keep breathing. Nice, deep, diaphragmatic breathing. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Doc. Welcome to the kitchen.
Oh, I love the kitchen, especially with you.
So we have a lot of people that ask us about nutrition.
Yep.
And especially nutrition in relation to the brain, since that's what we do. So we wanted to have a little informal education about the brain and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just what we're going to do on this fine Thursday night.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think we have to start with a few definitions.
Mm-hmm.
So eating and food are like loaded topics. And even if I ask somebody, what did they eat today, or what diet are they on, or whatever, there's just a lot of interpretation that goes on there and a lot of emotion that happens there. So we're going to take a little bit of that emotion and interpretation out, and we're just going to start with some very basic terms. Okay.
Yeah. No,
so
sounds good.
what I want to define first is nutrition. So I asked the computer, what is nutrition? And basically, the definition is that it is the process of providing food necessary for health and growth.
Okay.
So that's an interesting thing, because we always think of that with children, they're growing, but we sometimes forget that we're still growing.
Right.
So just a quick reminder to everybody that we are also growing. And we're growing in the process of, we're always making new cells, and we always have cells dying. We're not growing taller. We're not hopefully growing wider, but we are always producing new cells in our body. And so we need the nutrition to support that and to be the foundation for our health.
Makes complete sense. And we know things regenerate, like our bones regenerate, our stomach lining regenerates every 30 days. I mean, that's right into a lot of things we talk about, the autonomic nervous system and the brain. So I'm excited to hear what we got.
Right. Good. Okay. Good. So there's two parts to the process of nutrition. One is to actually take the food and put it into our body, and we call that eating.
Right.
So that seems pretty simple, right? Just get the food in the body. And then the second part is digestion. And that is really complicated. So we're going to learn a little bit about digestion today. We're certainly not going to be exhaustive in that space, because it's so complicated that honestly, even the most educated people still don't understand it completely. But we are going to look at two more things about nutrition, and that is, what are the goals for nutrition? So one of the goals I think most everyone is familiar with is to provide enough calories so that you have energy. Okay. So every cell in our body needs to have that caloric intake so that it can create energy. So that is sort of like plugging in your iPhone at night. So you're going to use it all day, then you're going to refuel it at night. But within the calories, there are nutrients, and this is a little more complicated, but this is part 2 of the goals of nutrition, is to provide the body with enough nutrients so that the organs can function properly. So within our body, every organ has to have different kinds of nutrients, and they all have different cascades that happen that require certain nutrients in order to go to the next level and the next level. So one of the things I was thinking about when I thought of how to describe this is, so we know we have to eat calories, but if I start the day with ice cream, and then I go to lunch and have ice cream, and then I have dinner and I choose ice cream.
I like ice cream.
Right? Then I may have met my caloric needs for the day.
Okay.
But my body, my organs, my cells are starving for the nutrients, because the ice cream is not going to provide the recommended daily allowance of nutrients. The body is hunting for the things it needs. It's very smart. And it all kind of starts up here in the brain, with different hormones that we have that talk to us about whether we're hungry or not, and whether we're satiated or not. Those things are responses to whether we have nutrients or not. So you can have a full stomach of ice cream and be starving for nutrients.
So it's kind of like this mathematical formula that it's not just the calorie, but it's the quality of each of those calories. And so that's going to affect my hunger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Let's go to a brief video that describes the digestive process. And this is just my definition of the journey from start to finish.
That's a different room.
Which is in a different room.
Okay, gotcha.
Of this house. But amazing things have to happen from the time you put that food in your mouth to the time that the waste products are excreted.
Okay, let's watch it.
Hey health enthusiasts, ready to embark on an epic digestive adventure? Let's dive in. It all kicks off in your mouth. Did you know digestion starts before you even swallow? Your saliva is packed with enzymes that begin breaking down starches. Plus, your teeth work hard to physically break food into smaller pieces. Fun fact, you produce about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva every day. That's enough to fill 2 large soda bottles. When you swallow, food travels down your esophagus through peristalsis, a wave of muscle contractions. This process is so effective you could technically digest food while standing on your head. Next, the food enters your stomach, the ultimate biological blender. Here, powerful acids and enzymes break down food into a substance called chyme. Your stomach lining produces a new protective layer of mucus every 2 weeks. Otherwise, these acids would digest your own stomach. The partially digested food then moves into your small intestine, where most nutrient absorption happens. This organ is about 20 feet long and would cover a tennis court if spread out. Here, your liver, pancreas, and gallbladder contribute various substances that help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Next stop is the large intestine, or colon, about 5 feet long. This is where water is absorbed from the remaining material. Your colon houses trillions of bacteria, your gut microbiome, which help break down remaining nutrients and produce several vitamins. These bacteria collectively weigh about as much as your brain. Finally, the remaining waste material forms stool in the rectum. A healthy digestive system can complete this journey anywhere from 18 to 72 hours after eating. Interestingly, about 75% of your stool is water, and a third of its solid matter is made up of dead bacteria. And here's a fascinating fact. Your digestive system has its own nervous system, often called the second brain, with about 100 million neurons, more than in your spinal cord. We now know the gut-brain connection is real. Your nutrition impacts your brain in ways similar to how it fuels your body. So next time you make food choices, remember your brain is along for the ride too. Thanks for joining me on this digestive adventure. Stay healthy and keep exploring.
Hopefully you enjoyed that little journey from
Yes. Okay, guys, that is just a little taste. Oh, that was pretty good. Little taste of what you're gonna see. Actually, the video, that's Amy's writing that we just turned into the little video there that you saw, the animated one. All of that stuff is that she wrote, which is pretty cool. And we're gonna get into the 3 pillars and all kinds of stuff as we go. But that's for you to watch later this week. So, Aim, I had a few questions for you that I wrote down here that I wanted to ask as we kind of take these last few minutes together. Why did you choose this area? Why this area of all the different things out there? You know, we were talking about hydrogen water before we started, and grounding, and there's hyperbaric chamber. There's all kinds of stuff. Why the nutrition in the brain?
I think because the more I learned about it, the more I realized it's accessible to everybody. Whereas a lot of the products and things, because of expenses, become inaccessible to people, even though I think that they are good. To me, even if somebody says to me, I can't buy the organic, it costs more, I have to argue that you're going to save money on the other end by being healthier, that you can buy the organic version. Or another argue I have is when you eat better food, you don't really have to buy as much food because the quality, our body can use it more. And so honestly, you don't need massive portions of good quality food. You just need just the right amount and enjoy it. So I think that was my biggest thing. And I feel like I have a huge concern that in our culture, as much as we as Americans have everything at our fingertips, I don't think we really understand what's at our fingertips. And so, like, I go to the store, the grocery store, and it literally contains from the absolute worst to the best options. And I think to myself, like, I'm driven to go pick the things I need because I look up everything and I this is something that I like to do, but I wonder how other people fill, make the choices that fill their carts. And so if somebody can learn something of a principle that they can take to the grocery store, that's what I'm looking for.
Excellent. What have you seen for you and your clients when you've kind of addressed the nutritional things? I mean, we're a brain company.
Yeah.
But many times people ask me something and I'll say, let me connect you with Amy on this. And so over the years, you've seen from some extremely complex cases to just some basic changes. Can you just give us a couple highlights of what you've seen in relation to the brain and the people's performance?
Yeah, definitely. We're spoiled because with our EEG equipment, we can see what brain waves are doing. So I've had kids that have really out of balance brainwave activity and equally as much out of balance in their gut health symptoms. And so what I've seen is that we can impact the brain waves by choosing better products for the brain to eat, but also I've also seen brainwave patterns improve with the neurofeedback and with the breathing that then go on to affect how the gut is processing the food. So it is something where, like, for example, I was working really hard with one of my clients on cleaning up the diet and working on gut health, a little bit of probiotics, a little bit of supplements that were related to gut health. We got some progress and then we got kind of a standstill. I got him to work into the neurofeedback program. He was on fire running neurofeedback and the gut things improved. So he had reached kind of a plateau through the supplement route and diet change route. But then when the brain changes started happening, so there's less of the brain on fire with the high beta, lo and behold, the rest and digest started to take off in a good direction. And then I, of course, have personal things of watching my own kids. I know their brain waves, unfortunately for them, but I know what their brains look like. And like feeding them as a mom saw differences happening. And then a great one is a couple years back. It wasn't great to begin with, but my dad has Parkinson's and he ended up needing a G tube. And all of us were like saddened by this. However, the flip side of that was that I got to design exactly what he was eating through the tube. And with the absolute best options I could come up with, his physical health is unbelievably good. And I knew his brainwave activity before because he did neurofeedback, and I know it now. And I know there's a direct impact there that his diagnosis, while it's a neuromuscular diagnosis, his disease process has definitely been slowed. And I think it is related to his excellent nutrition.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting with that story. When they put in the tube, the company sends you different food, and we started looking in the back of these cartons that were pumping in them, and Amy's like, I'm not doing that. And I think, were you trying to make your own or do some different things?
Maybe, but we came up with a better route for that after clogging the tube a few times. But what I said to my mom and dad is, Mom, you never fed Dad McDonald's his whole life, and that's what's in this carton.
Yeah.
And so we're going to find something that is better than that. So, anyway, so definitely within what we do, I've seen with my own eyes the differences that can happen related to changes in nutrition.
Yeah. There's just a synergistic effect.
Yeah.
And let's close out with how would you summarize this space of just food and nutrition? I mean, it seems like we're inundated with all kinds of, next to drug commercials that we see on TV, probably the next thing is different food things coming at us. And there's always something new, the new diet, the new this. How would you kind of summarize and see your place in this space?
Well, I hate to be negative Nelly, but I feel like the space in the United States is a disaster. I mean, hands down, a disaster. You cannot rely on the FDA. You cannot rely on what your physician is telling you. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, but the education and the understanding of nutrition is about this big in America, even though we have, like I said, every single thing at our fingertips. I look a lot at what other countries are doing, and they're far ahead of us. And you look at what's happening academically in our country versus other countries, and these other countries are just surpassing us very quickly. And I also don't know that how much of that is because of education system, so I know that plays in as well. But our health is horrendous.
Yeah.
So that hands down, the overall mortality, morbidity numbers are terrible. So I think it would be important to just stop and say, like, it's awful. Like, we need to, whatever it is we're doing, we at least need to reconsider what we're doing. Like the food pyramid, if somebody's still pushing on that, we really need to read some books, because that has just been a disaster. So, but with that said, I'm never one to just like be the feel like we should just be the victim and in the situation. I want to just like rise up against that and be like, we are so smart. We know so much. We have so much information. And in the video, we talk about this a little bit. My most favorite concept is that I curate my nutrition. Like, I wake up every day and I'm making the choice what I'm going to eat today. Like, Tim is not forcing me to eat something, or unlike my dad who has to get it all through a tube or whatever. Like, I wake up every day, I have the power and the ability to make choices for myself. And like, if I wake up and say, hey, I wonder what my brain wants today, that's definitely going to lead me in one direction versus like, I am feeling sad and I just want something salty or sweet, you know, like, so I hope with the teaching that we can feel like empowered and understand. I mean, really, it's just like our breathing and our brain training. Like, each of our clients are saying, like, I want to take hold of this thing because it's within me that I have the power to learn to breathe correctly, or I have the power to change my brain. I feel the same way about nutrition, that I am given the information, I have the ability to make really good choices for myself.
Yeah. Wow. I wish Amy had a little bit more passion about this. Oh, it's awesome. You guys are going to have fun with this series.
I hope you like it. It gets better and better, I think.
Yeah.
In fact, part 2 is like, I think, my favorite, where I just feel like maybe there's some nuggets there that you haven't heard before, but that can make you super motivated. And yeah, that's where we want to go.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Remember, put in the chat if you'd like to be part of the masterclass. There's no charge for it. It's just part of being a client. And if you have a friend that's not in the program or a family member and you'd like them to get the masterclass, they can get that via you watching the video tonight. So just let us know. And if you didn't put it in the chat, you can also send us email at royerneuroscience.com. So thanks, guys.
Thank
Great
you
to have you on
for
the
your
team.
half hour of time.
And we'll see y'all later.
Forge your inner armor